Hello and welcome to Boozy Book Reports, a simple podcast where we revisit childhood classics while drinking copious amounts of alcohol. We're your hosts, Beth
and Sam.
And this month we're reporting on Goosebumps, Night of the Living Dummy by R.L. Stine, first published in 1993. Terrifying.
Mostly, yeah.
So quick podcast update. If you didn't notice, we've been tardy. We've been absent.
Yeah.
We've been playing hooky.
Not out of school suspension, though.
No, because we are good girls. You know,
too good.
we got a horse girl and a rule follower. So we're there.
Maybe too many hobbies, too many things to do.
Yeah. I also just want to blame the fact that after 3 years of being COVID free, your girl finally got hit by an unnamed coworker who is still on my list, maybe forever.
Who maybe you threatened to kick out of your office.
Probably. So that was super fun. I'm still kind of dealing with the aftermath. And so anyway, but we're back and I'm super excited because we have a great lineup of books to come, reports to come, drinks to be had. So we're back at it, baby.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off the night with some drinks. As always, Sam has created two spooky cocktails.
It's spooky season.
Yes.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Oh my gosh.
There's a very good remix of that song. We should just.
Is it inappropriate?
No, it's just It's just that song set to like a
bop.
beat. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very good. We listened to it in my house.
Okay.
So, I acknowledge that you had been sick and that was unfortunate. So I made you a penicillin.
Nice. What's in this bad boy? It's beautiful in color.
Well, it's a nice little pale yellow. It's lemon juice and a honey ginger syrup and scotch, which I am not a scotch drinker. So this is not, let's just.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's tangy.
I hate scotch.
I don't know if I like that scotch aftertaste.
It always tastes like a Sharpie to me.
Mm.
It tastes like drinking Sharpies.
It's different. Yeah, I don't think I'd reach for this often, but it's good. It's actually kind of refreshing.
Well, the lemon's good. It's the scotch because it tastes like a delicious lemonade that somebody steeped a Sharpie in.
Mm. I kind of like what it's doing in my throat. I'm wondering if this is gonna help my baby cough.
It's basically a Ricola in a cocktail, like the honey and the ginger.
Oh, okay,
that's why it's a penicillin.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Good job, Sam. Sam's face
Thanks.
is like what my face normally looks like.
Of course. The one that... So my brother-in-law is a big Scotch fan, and my brother thought it would be very cool because he saw Parks and Rec, and obviously Ron Swanson is the epitome of manhood. I don't know.
True.
So he got a bottle of Lagavulin, like a nice bottle of Scotch. Like maybe it was when he got a new job. I think he spent like over $100 on this bottle.
Oh.
Tried it. Hates it.
Oh, no.
He's always like, what do I do with this?
Oh, no.
I said, well, you're supposed to sip it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's try. So that's supposed to cure you.
I'm cured.
Oh, I'm so pumped for this one. Okay, the other one is we went with these are both two classic cocktails. The other one's a Sazerac. So I was thinking spooky season, voodoo, New Orleans, Sazerac. So I've had this bottle of Uncle Nearest rye for a while that I've been holding on. Basically holding on for this drink. So
it's rye.
It's rye. It's Peychaud's bitters. It's sugar cube. And, you rinse the glass with absinthe.
Amazing. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sweet baby. Jesus.
I love it.
That's a put your hair on your chest cocktail. This is just a shot.
I feel like we swapped on these two. Like, yes, it is mostly just a shot. There's a little water in it.
I mean, oh, baby. Ooh.
Going back to the penicillin to cure you.
Need a chaser.
Oh my gosh.
That's intense.
I love it. That's my jam.
Yeah, our palates are very different. Very different.
It's like a spicy old fashioned. And I love an old fashioned, especially in the fall. I have cardamom bitters, make a cardamom old fashioned.
That is true. You've mentioned old fashions before.
Like summer drink is either some sort of gin lemonade business or a margarita, and winter is an old fashioned.
Yeah, I mean, this feels fall. This feels thick of fall. Like leaves are crunching on the ground. You're in a knitted sweater that's chunky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have candles. When I drink this at home, it's like I'm sitting in my living room. The cats are purring. I have a candle set out that I also have to bat the cat away from because he decides that it looks fun.
Yeah,
cat stuff.
Cat life.
And on one of these, That's like a fantastic evening.
Okay. I do have to say the penicillin, man, I keep reaching for it, which never happens.
I am so
surprised. Am I a, what is this? Scotch? No, this is, I'm a Scotch girl.
You're a Scotch girl.
Oh, I thought I was just a vodka girl, you know?
My brother-in-law, Scott, is going to be so stoked about this. He knows how I feel about Scotch, and he kind of makes fun of me for it.
I kind of like the tang.
It is very tangy. It's
okay.
Good. We did fresh lemon juice tonight and everything. It was,
because Scotch is whiskey, right? Like like it's like a aged, but they're like the same family, your cousins. Yeah. I remember the first shot I ever took was with my dad in the kitchen. I think I was 18 or 19, and it was, I think, wild turkey. Yep, wild turkey. We did a shot of whiskey together.
Oh boy!
And I did not hold my own. Yeah, I probably got a half shot, but anyway. Anyway, back to spooky season.
Yeah,
we're gonna start with the back of the book. Sam's gonna read. So everybody that doesn't know what we're about to get into does, if you haven't read this literary classic before.
Yeah, it turns out one of our coworkers has read it. She commented that I've read that several times for my children.
Yes, it's popular.
Yeah.
So
this is Night of the Living Dummy by R.L. Stine. He's no dummy. Lindy names the ventriloquist dummy that she finds Slappy. Slappy is kind of ugly, but he's a lot of fun. Lindy's having a great time learning to make Slappy move and talk. But Chris is jealous of all the attention her sister is getting. It's no fair. Why does Lindy have all the luck? Chris decides to get a dummy of her own. She'll show Lindy. Then weird things begin to happen. Nasty things. Evil things. No way a dummy can be causing all the trouble. Or is there?
Dude.
Bum, bum, bum.
Seriously. And this is your trigger warning. Spoiler alerts. If you haven't read this book from 1993 yet, it's about to get spoiled. Number 2 is that it's scary. There's some moments of terror in here for children, maybe not adults. Although I was very hesitant to start reading. I made point to read this in the daytime.
Yes,
to start.
I did the same. I was like, I read it in my living room because I read it on the couch, and I read it with light, and because I wanted to get it started. And then once I got started, I was like, I can read this in bed.
I'll be fine. I mean, there was a moment I got a little spooked out that I had to okay, it's just a story. And then I put the book down, and then I thought someone was in my house. I'm very susceptible to scary images.
I will generally say that I am as well, though I think we talked about this, I think last year. The scariest thing to me is not, though, creepy people in the house but it's definitely not a clown or a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, but I got in the mood. I put on a Spotify spooky list.
Okay.
At
You did this to yourself.
I was reading it at 10 o'clock at night.
Being like, ooh, and then I put on the fog machine.
Well, and I did it with all of my all of the lights off in my house except for my bedroom.
Okay.
Anyway,
you did do this to yourself.
I did. Yeah, and just FYI, so kind of exciting news. Goosebumps is being made into a new series. So there was a series back in the 90s, which I tried to watch The Dummy, the Night of the Living Dummy, but they didn't have the original book. It did it with book 2, but it was kind of terrifying. But they're starting on Disney Plus starting on October 13th. We are not sponsored, but yeah, they're going to do Night of the Living Dummy. Episode is number 3.
Friday the 13th, too, in October. Extra
spooky. So just one little other fun fact. So R.L. Stine is the author, which I thought it was a fake pseudonym for a long time.
Is it not?
It's a real person.
I thought it was a ghostwriter or somebody they just collected.
Nope. Robert Lawrence Stine, 79 years old.
Now, when he wrote this?
Okay. Yeah. And there's 62 of these original, the Goosebumps series. There's more books that he's written, but the original 90s crew, this is what it was. These were super controversial. When this came out, I was 12, so I was a little bit over the demographic, but my brother wasn't. He had some Goosebumps books.
Yeah, they were a big deal when I went through, because I think I'm about the same age as your brother. It was a big deal. I remember seeing one of I think it was the ALA's list of banned books, and Goosebumps is on it.
Oh yeah,
all the original Goosebumps.
In the 90s, it was the 15th most contested book.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
For Pete's sake.
Witchcraft, the occult, demonic issues. It was scary to young people, which it kind of was. There was one Goosebumps where it's just a little kid in overalls holding a mask.
Yeah.
That shit scared me. And I didn't even read the book. I just saw the cover. I was like, oh no.
I didn't read them because I knew I was spooked by things. Like I said, a couple of the ghosty book, like Babysitters Clubs, or not it was the Boxcar Children.
Yes.
There was like one they had to solve a mystery and there was maybe some dark. And I was like, ooh, that's too much for me. But so I did not read these as a kid. But now that I'm reading them, I don't know. I don't think it's
not horrible. But then if I was 8 and reading this, I would feel very differently in my bed at night with my flashlight or whatever, I
will say I think there's there's a temporal nature to horror, because I think this is true for movies too. I remember my mom showed us Children of the Corn, which
that shit was terrifying.
Yeah, but like we watched it and we were like, this is maybe it wasn't Children of the Corn. It was what's
you
the
talked
one
about
with
Pet
Freddy
Sematary before.
Krueger? Pet Cemetery is still terrifying to me.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, that's the one. So Children of the Corn was like, yeah, that kid's real creepy, not into creepy kids. But Nightmare on Elm Street, I think because the CG is like very different than what we had seen.
Yeah.
I just I wasn't very scared by it.
No, I remember watching Freddy Krueger when it first came out in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Probably was 10. Shouldn't have been watching it. It was scary.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Depp got sucked into a bed and there was lots of blood. That's
I do
what I remember
that scene. And my neighbor and I were laughing our asses off. But but Blair Witch Project scared the shit out of me.
Yes. Still, I still can't watch that. I cannot watch found footage horror films. I cannot watch anything like The Ring or anything Possession. Like the new Exorcist is coming out. You will not see me at the theater.
No.
There is on Prime, which I sound like I'm a shell for the, streaming companies at this point. I'm not.
I think you're just pointing out the topical nature of the wonderful books that we read.
But they have a new slasher film coming out on Prime for Halloween that's like based on the 80s. So this girl gets sucked kind of like back in time to solve a murder that her mom was around in the 80s. And it's like 80s slasher, but with a new spin. So I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a modern take on the 80s slasher.
Yeah, especially with less misogyny, just in general. I remember watching it. There used to be this thing on USA Up All Night. And so you would, on the USA channel, they would have like just TNA type of movies and horror movies.
Cable.
Oh my gosh. Well,
what a fancy...
it wasn't at my house.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we had cable.
I'm just
kind of
rich. She's rich.
She's a rich bitch. But I remember we would watch Up All Night, like with I think it was Elvira.
Oh,
okay. And then I remember there was this one, I'll never forget it because I was like, this feels wrong because it was this girl and she had like a cropped mini top on with no bra.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see anything, but the whole time she just shook. And I was watching it like, I think that this is an ism.
Yeah.
This
is actually something I guess I don't necessarily understand either. I don't understand that this crossover between sort of like why the slasher and sort of TNA genres go together. I remember when we were kids, my mom got this. God, I was in 9th grade. We had a sleepover. My mom picked up some random bargain bin like horror movie for us to watch at the sleepover with like all my friends. We ended up not watching it. And then a few days later, my mom was like, oh, we'll just watch it as a family. And there was like a full softcore scene in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And like I didn't watch scary movies, so I was in my room and all of a sudden I just hear like a lot of commotion and I come out into the garage and my brother and sister are getting to like break apart this VHS tape. And I was like, what happened? And they were like, there was like lesbians and they were doing it. And of course that's like the spiciest thing to hit Eastern Colorado. Yeah. And but I didn't understand at the time, but it does seem very common, this like crossover between like softcore effectively and like horror.
Yeah.
People just want to feel all the things at once, I guess.
All of the sensations, all the feelings, all the dopamine, serotonin rush, I guess. I
guess.
I don't know. I think it's getting better. But in the 80s and late 70s, very exploitative, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
It was not great. But you know what was great, Sam? This book.
Well, I wouldn't go that far either.
But we are going to...
Give me your Sazerac, by the way.
Oh, girl, I've drank more than this than any other cocktail.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I was saying, give me your Sazerac because I don't want the penicillin. I'll take the Sazerac.
Oh.
Drink break.
Dude, we need to start doing shots before we start talking because, man, I need a shot of scotch and you need a scotch of rye. No.
Oh. You need a what? So... apparently while we were on summer vacation, our drinking tolerances also went down.
It went right down.
Oh boy. Yeah, we were pretty low energy when we started.
Yeah, we're both like, there was a long day at work. And now we're like, woo!
Give me your sauce rat. Let's go.
I need another cocktail. Yeah, this is hitting in such a way. I'm starting to feel warm all over my body.
That is alcohol. That's booze.
Oh,
isn't it nice?
I'm so happy right now.
It's once in a while.
Oh, I never do this. Oh, and on a school night. Anyway,
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. It's the season, man.
In the words of Donna Meagle, treat yourself.
Okay, so Night of the Living Dummy.
Yes.
First of all, I'm just saying in general, I'm not a clown person. I'm not a doll person. Well, you're saying no, it doesn't bother you. I'm saying no, it bothers me.
Oh, really? Oh, for me? Oh, I'm the opposite. Like, I guess I get the Pennywise thing because it's like a creepy dude. But
did you watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space when you were a kid?
You know, I did not watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I'm just saying, I watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which are these demonic, terrifying, big old, chubby, amazing looking clowns that look so realistic for the 80s. And they come to Earth and they're using our population as food. And so they zap you with a gun that wraps you up in cotton candy. And then they jam a straw into the cotton candy and suck out your blood.
How is that? Like, how is that not camp? And
it is camp at this point.
It is camp.
It is camp. But when you are 7 watching it, it's not camp. And they also had a dirty scene with like 2 clown girls and a guy in a tub, I believe. And they had their little biddies out.
Their clown balloons.
Yes. Anyway, highly recommend you watch it this season because it is. Okay. I think you'll like it, and it is good.
So I will tell you, I was deathly scared of. Here's a very campy thing that I was very scared of. So there was like on America's Funniest Home Video, there was like a fake monster that was the pizza monster, which it was just his face was a pizza and his mouth had stringy cheese.
Yes.
I was so
really
scared of that.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
And it was supposed to be like a joke. It was like Bob Saget making jokes.
No, traumatized.
Terrifying.
I thought that was from a horror film. I'm remembering it. I
think it's from America's Funniest Home Videos. It was supposed to be a joke.
Oh no, that was scary.
Like that.
No. Okay, we're going to jump into the book now. So we start off with finding out about these 2 twin girls, Lindy and Chris. Yes. Blonde girls with one long hair, one short hair. Blue eyes, beautiful.
Okay, even though that is the case, I still imagine them as the creepy twins from The Shining.
I would believe it because of their interests and how they act.
I was like,
So the girls are traipsing around their neighborhood and there's like a house being built next door to them. And so they're like in there and they think they hear something. And my first thing that I highlighted in this book, it was on page 6 and they're walking through and they're like, careful, nails.
Oh, I highlighted that too.
Like,
I wrote tetanus.
Right? It's like, if you step on one, you're going to lockjaw and die. And I'm like, when I was a kid, I thought that was going to be way more prevalent in my life.
that would be a larger factor.
Yeah, like tetanus and lockjaw.
Right. I sympathize to those who are older than us, who that actually was a big concern. But yeah, I remember my parents telling us about tetanus because we used to like pal around my grandparents' like farm all the time.
Yeah.
And so we definitely got tetanus shots. I don't know a single person who's gotten tetanus.
No. Or that's like, I don't even really know anybody that stepped on a rusty nail.
Oh, Kevin did.
Okay,
at a wedding.
Course.
He stepped on a rusty nail. He definitely panicked about it. And then we definitely did the math of when did you get your last tetanus shot, which conveniently I got mine at 10 and now I just do it every decade.
Oh, that's super simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he had to go get a booster and he was very upset about it. But he did not get tetanus. But also just, I think we should clarify, still get like your tetanus shot. Still get vaccinated for it.
I agree. Tetanus shot.
Thought that was going to be a bigger deal, but I just get it and that's it.
There's kind of a running gag on like the TikToks right now. People saying, I thought like quicksand was going to be a bigger deal. I thought like my friends offering me drugs was going to be a bigger deal and just all this stuff.
I love, like I finally saw some, it was probably some reel or some nonsense or a meme that was like, drugs are expensive. I'm not offering random children drugs.
No. And this is literally my favorite time of year where all the, I'm going to just say wackadoos are like, people are putting drugs in your kids' candy.
And razor blades.
Yeah. And it's like, calm down, first of all.
Single person? I don't know. Not that that's exhaustive. It isn't.
But you can do a quick Google. And
people did tamper with Tylenol at one point.
Yeah. But that's Tylenol. I have I have a terrifying story.
Yeah.
My aunt used to tell me this story all the time. And this was back in the day before there were tamper-proof seals. And she got it in her head. I don't know why. I don't remember if it was a dare or whatever, but she was in her science class and they were dissecting cow eyeballs.
Yeah.
So she took one with her, hid it, went to the grocery store, opened up one of the giant mayonnaises that you could get, put it in there. And there was no seals, right? Because it was like in the 60s or whatever.
God.
And ran away.
That was probably like formaldehyde.
There's probably someone to this day, generationally, their family is afraid of mayo because grandma got an eyeball in it at some
saw
point.
Amari about that.
Oh, I'm telling you. Like, again, I'm just happy there's tamper-proof seals now. Anywho.
Anyway, I have lots of chemistry thoughts about this, but I'm not going to.
Oh, okay.
We can go on.
We can make do we
No,
need to do the
just
science
like
thing?
you get to have a sterile environment and stuff with the seal. Anyway.
Yes. Okay. I love my friends that are so smart. Hi. Okay. So anyway, the girls are running around this construction site and Lindy, they hear a sound and like, what was that kind of thing? And then they run out and they look in the dumpster and they find a ventriloquist dummy.
Well, first they just see arms and legs and you think maybe did somebody throw away a child?
Yeah. Although like, come on. It can't be that realistic. However, have you seen those real babies?
Yes, because my friend has like an obsession with them and like porcelain versions. And then she sends pictures of them to me. And I told her if she sent any more to me that I would definitely mail her the Ann Getty's Celine Dion collaboration book.
Yeah.
Which she now has.
Well,
because she wouldn't stop sending me dumb fuck pictures of realistic baby shaped soaps.
No, these are like, they look like a baby. They're made out of silicone. And they move like a baby. They have dangly heads. And I'm on, every once in a while I get on the side of TikTok that's into that. And I can't remember the exact name, but people have the whole babies. They'll take them out. Like they name them. They freaking put like, they zhuzh them up with like individually placed like eyebrow hairs. And just like, it is so interesting.
No, I did not know this was a thing. I thought we just had Tamagotchis.
No. This is like a whole thing. Anyway, I'll send you some TikToks because it's fascinating.
Every time you open a sentence with, did you know there's a corner of TikTok that is obsessed with blank? I lose faith in society. It's so bad.
Yeah.
The number of times Beth at work is like, oh, did you know that in this corner of blank talk that people are really into this?
I have a problem. So anyway, Lindy is like so stoked to find this ventriloquist dummy and like people literally are getting pumped for her, which I think is the weirdest part of the story.
I think that's the sign that it was written by a 60 at the time, like a 60-year-old man. They were like, he was like, oh, you know what kids like these days? Ventriloquist dummies.
I feel like ventriloquists had a moment, right? Back in the day.
But it's like the same time that there was like variety shows on television.
Yeah, but this is like the early 90s. And so it's
were
like,
they back? In the 90s?
No, but I just think there wasn't internet. Like, what else are you going to do to be entertained? You know,
not find the weird corners of TikTok.
No, you don't get that luxury, you know?
You will have to be your own weird corner.
Yes, that's exactly what these girls do. They named the doll Slappy, which already...
I thought that was appropriate.
I mean, yeah, but it's still, it goes in line with them being creepy. Like they're creepy girls.
Sure, these children are, even their parents are like a little creeped out by them.
Yeah. Like
the mom's like, please stop talking about the damn dummy.
Well, and so like Lindy, the one sister, and then Chris, the other sister, she's just like, well, I want a dummy now. And then the parents are like, well, you guys can share. And Lindy's like, oh, hell to the no. I'm not sharing with my sister, which relatable.
Listen, I don't want slappy dummy seconds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, Lindy's also really not sharing at this point.
No, they're both snatches to each other.
So you don't have a sister.
No.
My sister and I were really terrible to one another, but there are some things that I feel like we just didn't do.
Yeah.
And like this like fighting over a thing, absolutely. Yeah. That's 100% that. Well, I think we'll come to a point later in the book.
Oh yeah, where it's just like
we're like
too far.
My sister was like down to try to scare me, and we were down to try to like jump out of corners or like tease each other about like some perceived weakness. But these girls are terrible to each other.
Yeah.
They're really nasty.
Really nasty. So I don't know how it happens, but the next day, the dad finds another dummy at a pawn shop named Mr. Wood, which again, creepy. Like,
also, where's this excessive ventriloquist dummies coming from? Were there like 3 haunted circuses in town?
It's
And they
like,
were
what
like,
is
oh,
going
they're
on?
offload.
So
where are they coming from?
yeah, and it almost immediately the girls are noticing like at night the dolls are moving, like things are changing, which I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to sound bad, but white people things. Because it's like, I literally, if I put a doll in one spot and I woke up the next day and my parents hadn't been in the room and it was moved to a different spot and was smiling at me, immediately no. It's gone.
100%.
You're not getting another chance.
Maybe this is rich white people things, but the minute, like, I'll be honest, I think we've talked about this before in other like ghosty books. I don't believe in a lot, you know, like I'm a scientist. I'm like, oh, logically, I don't fuck with spirits.
No.
I don't fuck with demonic stuff.
The unknown? Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not curious.
No. I mean, like, I'll do a Ouija board, whatever. But like something like this?
No. Immediately,
I don't want to find out.
No.
I don't want to know.
No, I
because if you do find out that that's real,
you're done.
Pet cemetery.
And yes.
It's over.
Ugh. Okay. Nope. The girls are both like in this mad dash to become the best ventriloquist artists ever, which I remember years back, there was a little girl that was on Factor X or
X Factor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I don't watch that show, but I saw a clip of her doing her little ventriloquist thing. Freaked me the fuck out. And I was like, absolutely not.
This is truly a race to the bottom.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not that. And this is a live, real human girl. And I was like, you're throwing your voice.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So I remember thinking it was really cool as a kid, like, because I think I saw on a talent show or something like that. I thought I like saw that somebody, you know, did the ventriloquist. I mean, I also came up in the age of like Jeff Dunham.
Oh yeah,
which he's also kind of
problematic,
gross.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I sort of came up, and I always thought that was an interesting talent. Though I never thought that, and you know, I never thought that like Jeff Dunham was cool.
Really? He's not the epitome of hip?
I was like, well, that's an interesting skill.
Yeah. I can appreciate the skill.
Yeah.
And what it takes to like get good, because both of these girls like really jump into it and they're trying to learn. Lindy is excelling. She was made for this.
She was actually very good. And honestly, it sounds like she was a natural comedian. Yes. There was a couple points in the book, I have to say, where I wasn't. There was the point where I think Chris tells Lindy, I got asked to go to the talent show to do the initial. And I didn't, maybe I missed that part in the book, but where she got asked. But I just kept thinking, oh, these girls are like actually just lying to each other. Mm-hmm. But they actually, these things did happen. And they were like natural sort of comedians and very funny.
Lindy much more so than Chris. There's a point where Chris invites her little pseudo boyfriend, whatever, Cody, over to like listen to her act.
He was my favorite. He really honestly was the voice of reason in this whole experience.
He literally like, she's like, is this funny? He's like, no. Can you do this? She's like, no, you need to do that. And there's a point where like, she's like trying out all these different jokes on him and stuff. And she's like, what do you think? He's like, I think I have to go home. And I was just like, yes, immediately. Yeah. Like, what would be more terrifying is you go to dinner at a friend's house and, you know, after dinner, they're like, oh, I'm going to get dessert. And they bring out a ventriloquist dummy to like.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I'd be like, I'm sorry, my mom called. The street lights are on. I have to go home.
Like, worst day ever.
I mean, so I guess what we should say is to the, I'm surely largely
so sorry, yes.
Norwegian ventriloquist. Since number one, we were number 500 in
Norway? We were like number 174 in Norway on a chart at some point.
So to the Norwegian ventriloquists out there who are enthusiastically listening to this podcast, I definitely appreciate what you do. I think it's very cool. And especially if you mix it with comedy, that's very good. Mm-hmm. If I saw a 12-year-old doing it, I'd be like, yeah, fuck no, I'm out of here.
Honestly, if I saw an adult doing it, I'd be like, no. Like, I paid for a comedy show. I'm not watching.
I mean, it can be fun if you're like using it. I think it's funny if there's like a juxtaposition, which is like why the things that Jeff Dunham did, the parts that were funny and not just like gross racist jokes hidden behind a puppet, were like funny because you can have that effectively. You get to write that banter with yourself.
Yes.
It's a 2-person, 1-woman show.
I'll give you that, but not a fan still.
Just the analysis here.
Yes.
I can't help it. But if a
I'm
12-year-old
on
did
Cody's
it.
side of just like, I'm going home. I'm going home.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Chris is trying to improve her act. She's like, I'm gonna get a joke book, or all of this stuff that a kid would do.
I mean, props for research, but yeah.
Yeah. So Chris is invited to like run the talent show and be like the host or whatever. So eventually she actually asks her sister to help improve her act. And the sister's kind of like, I gotta go to a party. I've booked a gig. And so they get together and like a couple of their friends are there and like they're doing something and Woody slaps Chris. And like his voice starts being weird and she's blaming Lindy. She's like, I'm not doing it. And then she kind of runs off. And the next night, like Chris hears some sounds and she goes down into the kitchen and all of the food has been tossed out of the refrigerator. She really was into collecting like trash costume jewelry and it's like all on the floor. It's all over Mr. Wood who's sitting there, the little dummy who's sitting there smirking. And so she's freaked out. She's like, I have a possessed dummy.
Yeah.
And
she's super freaky.
Yeah. Which now she goes and tells mom and mom is like, what the hell happened to my kitchen?
Yeah. Which is the correct response. You're blaming it. I mean, I did actually feel like a certain amount of sympathy because Chris was genuinely convinced at this point that Mr. Wood was doing things and she did the thing that she's supposed to do, which is to go tell an adult.
Yep.
And the adult was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Please stop talking about the dummies. And at this point, mom is pissed.
Yeah.
She's like tired of them fighting, tired of them. Everything's a competition. Now it's a ventriloquism competition, which I cannot literally think of any worse competition.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe I don't know. I can't think of much right now, but I definitely can't think of a worse competition than this. And she's just tired of it at this point. Like now they've wrecked her house. They've wrecked her kitchen.
Yeah.
She has no peace.
No peace. None. Okay. So Chris is like, decides to get dressed up because one of her teachers is like going away and they talk about what she's wearing and it is a
Betsy Johnson skirt.
Can't beat that. And a silk blouse, which as soon as it says silk blouse, I had a flashback to 7th grade and people wearing silk button-down shirts with a vest over the top. And I was like, I always wanted a silk shirt. But they were expensive. And it was just like, it was my fantasy.
I have one and I can tell you it is like, it's a kind of unruly.
Yeah.
I have one now as an adult. I also did have a vest. Do you want to guess what was on that vest?
No. What was it?
You do.
Was it horses? Okay.
you know what's on that vest. Of course it was
horses.
And we're with a tan mock turtleneck underneath.
Oh my gosh. I actually had a lot of vests in the early 90s. Like I was into it.
This was 2001.
Okay. Well, fashion takes a minute to get to all the corners and crevices.
Eastern Colorado took a while. But Betsy Johnson, I know I had like a sort of like
epitome of 90s like girly culture. Anyway, the girls have cleaned up the kitchen. They've agreed to like pay for the food that was damaged because mom's basically like both dummies are going to go away. Lindy finally fesses up to her sister. Hey, it's been me the whole time that's been doing all this stuff.
Yeah. When she got to that point, I just thought that is so cruel. Like to scare your sister once or to do like a creepy thing once is one thing, but to like maintain like a multi-week ruse and like almost drive your sister to a psychotic break.
Gaslighting the crap out of her.
I know.
Like another level.
My sister and I were not always nice to each other. I mean, we're rednecks. I feel like all of our like there was like a physical like let's go out and fight about it sort of like bent to like all of our issues. But we were not this terrible.
No, this is off. This is terrorizing.
It's like the mental side of it. It's not just like, oh, this will be over. And
it's like your twin too. Like it's just kind of messed up. So
yeah, I mean, we shouldn't put extra like force on a twins that they had to like their siblings or something.
No, but maybe not be like sadistic.
Lindy was kind of sociopath.
Yeah, she's like, you're a copycat. I'm gonna break your spirit. I'm gonna break your mental like load.
I felt so bad for Chris because she really did believe everything her sister said.
Well, turn of events. A couple days later, Chris is I can't remember. She's like changing Woody or zhuzhing him up. I don't remember. She finds a little brown piece of paper in his pants or his shirt or whatever. Opens it up. Some language she doesn't know. Just starts.
Umo goi goi 5 eats out. Umo goi goi 5 eats out.
What is that?
That's Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh gosh. No, sorry. This is like.
Yeah. I'm not gonna read the incantation.
Me either, because I have.
What do you have in your house?
Cats and I don't
Your
know.
cat's already terrorizing my lap right now, so we don't need more of that.
But I just thought like, I mean, again, kid logic, but I was just like, I would never start just saying the thing out loud. And as soon as she says it, boom, the dummy comes alive.
I'm gonna level with you here.
Yeah.
I'm very stupid. I would have absolutely said it. I would have been like, Uma goy 5e. What is this? And then I probably would have Googled it.
No Google back then though. Just
No.
say incantations and see how it goes. You know?
So I actually this belongs earlier, but I did actually look up how much money Lindy was making for each gig.
Yeah.
Because
that's what you do.
Yeah, that's actually. Let me tell you what, $55 in 1993 is almost $116.
Okay,
she was making out of 2 gigs. She was actually making quite a chunk of change. That's like 3 Starbucks coffees right now.
Yeah, good on her. Good on her. And Mr. Wood is now alive. Chris at first thinks that she just sees him blink. Then they decide to invite their elderly neighbors over for a little ventriloquist night, and Chris is going to do her whole spiel before the big
the
show.
Parents kind of push this one. The kids, like, especially Chris was like, I'm not ready. I don't want to do this. And the parents really push them to like do their act.
Yeah.
And they're like, sing, kids.
I mean, yeah,
dance, kids.
That's true. So but Lindy kills it. She kills it because she has the timing. Like they've at this point come up with a rap, all kinds of stuff. Now Chris is having some troubles because Woody comes out and he's just insulting everyone.
Okay, so I have to admit that this is the point where I wrote on my margin, LMAO actually funny. Because like I was like, I love an insult comic. Okay. I thought this was hilarious. The idea of I'm sorry, this is terrible, but the idea of a tiny white girl rapping with a dummy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like that's a lot. Fucking worst.
Yeah.
But like an insult comic dummy, fantastic. Shitting on the old guys next door, love it. If they insulted me, I would love that more. I love an insult comic. Bianca Del Rio, ventriloquist dummy. All for that.
I actually would watch that. Yes. I would watch that.
Yes. I mean, I know it was mean, but it was also actually funny.
Yeah. Well, and then they were kind of like, hey, you might want to work on your act. This isn't really hitting.
Well, and then it got kind of mean.
Well, and then the next day at the concert or whatever, the talent show, homegirl goes after the art teacher or drama teacher. And she's a chunky woman. And it's merciless. Like that was real
cruel.
Bad.
That was cruel. So I thought the joke about you're a nice looking dummy too is like that's hilarious.
Funny. Yeah. But they went really far. Woody went really far with the drama teacher.
Well, and then worse than that, he like upchucks bile. Like over all of them. Which at this point, I'm like, frankly, this is the point where the adults in the room have failed Chris.
Oh, absolutely. Because no dummy is going to projectile vomit for more than, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. It reminds me of, did you ever see the movie Stand By Me?
Yes.
It's the pie eating competition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lard ass at the pie eating competition. Just spewing cherries over everybody. Yeah. But this was a dummy. And so it's like, this kid didn't rig up a tubing and a this and a that.
You literally could check for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was, at this point, all the adults in the room have failed Chris.
Yes.
Because she's obviously the victim of something.
Something's happening for sure.
Yeah. The other thing about this is if you have a kid who is like, maybe I'm naive. Children can be monsters.
Yeah.
But if you have a kid that, is all of a sudden the dummy is saying these things and it's not in like, not in character for this child
like
that
it's
supposedly
straight up sadistic.
Yeah. Maybe you take a moment.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, Chris, what's going on?
Is your dummy possessed? Did you say an enchantment that may have awoken their spirit?
Are you having a psychotic break because your sister straight up like mentally twisted abused you?
Yeah. Girlfriend is suspended.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want you back.
Like you puked eggs on us. And
like, it's
called the art teacher fat.
It's done. And so Mr. Powell's like, this has gone too far. The dad's like, we're taking him back to the pawn shop. And so Chris locks him in the closet, except it doesn't have a lock, but it has a closing door. And bad things come to be.
Well, it's at some point, Mr. Wood
decides to spring to life and is walking around, terrifying, because those little feet, Yeah, there's footsteps. They hear
No,
footsteps.
I know that, but I'm just imagining, sorry, that face, which you cannot see because this is an audio medium, was me going, oh, God.
It just, I can hear the little patter of like little feet coming near you. And so, of course, Chris decides to investigate. Again, I'm putting the covers over my head and just hoping for the best.
Oh, that was my MO with when I was scared that aliens were going to come up and abduct me. They can't get you if the covers are over the head.
I mean, that perfectly makes sense to me. That is very logical. So now, like, she's waking up her sister and they're like, oh my gosh, she's actually alive. And Mr. Wood is like, he's like, you guys are my slaves now. Like, you're my slaves forever.
So correct me if he talked a lot about this.
Yeah.
I'm just criticizing Mr. Wood's approach here. You're good. You are my slaves now. I have all these magic powers.
Doesn't use them.
He does not back it up.
No.
I'm just saying the argument feels a little bit weak. He's very strong.
He's strong because the girls they get in a big fight with him.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get out and they're chasing him.
But he writes a lot of checks that his little wooden ass cannot cash.
No. And yes, so he kicks Chris in the stomach and then the girls grab him. And I love this because they're like, hold him. You pull his head off. And the girls try to decapitate him.
Yeah. And then they tried with scissors too.
Yeah, nothing's working. And it's like, oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to bury him alive in a suitcase. So they put him in a suitcase, take him next door. And it's like nighttime now. I'm just picturing these girls like with this thing rustling in a suitcase, digging a hole, shoving it in, and then thinking they've escaped.
If I have learned anything, again, from the most accurate horror film of our generation, Pet Sematary.
Oh my gosh.
Burying anything does not fix the problem, and in fact can only make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
It is then empowered by the earth.
That is very true. That is very true because, first of all, this little sucker is in a suitcase buried under earth, and the girls are like, they're exhausted. They go back to bed. You know, they think everything's great, and then they wake up and realize he's freed himself.
How does that
and they're waiting for them
get out?
Exactly.
How does the little fucker get out?
Not just get out of a suitcase, but it's like, it's hard to dig through soil.
I'm just going to assume that they did not bury him deep enough. But also, again, burying anything in a horror movie.
In a horror, specifically, okay?
Fixes nothing.
No. So homeboy's back. He's like, I'm going to make you my slaves. Unfortunately, mom and dad are both gone. The girls were like, please don't leave to go to the store. And they're like, we're going.
They're like, we've had enough of your dumb shit. We need a date. We need some us time.
Yes. We're so tired. We're so tired. You guys have put us through misery for the last 12 years.
They're like, chuck the keys at each other. Like, all right,
bye.
Peace.
Well, this is the point where this is actually the most disturbing point in the book because Mr. Wood, to show he's serious and that the girls are going to be his slaves, he attacks the family dog. He chokes him out.
Nothing I cared about in this whole book until you can read this from across the room. 122. Not the dog.
Yeah. It was awful.
Yes.
It was so bad. And so they somehow got him off of him. I can't remember what happened exactly because I was honestly a little traumatized by the dog.
Yes. I know 100%. I was reading very quickly at this point.
I was just like, oh. But the girls, like, there's the next door because, again, they're building this mansion and they have not one, but 2 steamrollers. And so the girls decide to get.
It's a rich neighborhood.
It's a rich neighborhood. The girls decide to throw Mr. Wood under the steamroller, and the dog like gets out at the same time.
Yeah,
so then there's like
running towards the steamroller.
Oh my gosh, it was too much.
I was like, this is a children's book.
Yes, too much.
But also other books. So I talked about this last night with Kevin as I was going to bed. I personally, for this podcast, have a no dogs die.
Yeah.
Which means we are never doing where the red fern grows.
No.
And if you don't know how that ends, you've...
Consider yourself lucky, actually.
Well, now you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert for a book that was written in, what, the 60s or 50s?
You probably were forced to read at school at some point.
Yeah.
No dogs die. I thought that was about to be in danger here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very stupid.
But thankfully... the dog it survives.
Exactly.
Mr. Wood. So the girls are dragging basically the dog and the doll outside. The dog gets out of the grip. They're going to get him to the steamroller. The first steamroller is missing. He's like, ha ha. And then the second steamroller flattens his ass. And then a little puff of, green, because that's the universal sign for a possessed spirit. Smoke goes up into the air.
Yes, I saw it in Ghostbusters. It is correct.
Yeah, 100%. And so it crushes him to death. The girls are like, yay! Unfortunately for the steamroller, he thought he hit a small child because he heard a pop. And so he's like, I killed a kid, which is awful. Again, thankfully, like he didn't, so he's less traumatized now. But I can only imagine trying to go back to work after the thought of like that all happening. And so Lindy and Chris and Barky, the dog, Barky, go back home. They're so excited and they're like, we're finally free. We're finally free. They get back to their room and Slappy is waiting for them. And he asks them if the other dummy is gone.
Yeah, because apparently Umo Goigai Vibisao opened up also, like, it just awoke all the dummies in the house.
And what he says is, hey, slave, problematic. Is the other guy gone? I thought he'd never leave. End of story. I'm traumatized.
Which also brings into question, like, was all the things that Lindy claimed, was that actually...
I know. Yeah. Was she possessed? Was she... Because, again, it was real dark. So I'm leaning towards, like, girlfriend was influenced.
That's a good, I think that's better than, wow, she's just a utter shit to her sister.
No, I think she's probably influenced because some of that stuff, like, who would even think to do that?
I really like the idea that, like, 20 years down the road, they're sitting around at the family reunion and their kids are playing and they're like, you know, Chris is like, remember that one time you gaslit me terribly?
Oh my gosh. So
remember that time you were a complete and utter fucking psychopath?
It's like, those were the days.
Yeah. I hope Chris gets help.
Yes. I mean, both of them need help. It is very red rum. Like, you know, it's very like, oh, you guys have gone too far. There's maybe some attachment disorder happening. I don't know. Like the competition's at another level. Yeah. Like we need to get some therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
You're putting way too much into dolls.
But also the fact that now they have to get rid of yet a second.
I know. Who I feel is going to be much stronger because he comes back in like 6 books. Like there's a lot more of these.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure this is Slappy on the cover, not even like
I know it is Slappy on the cover. So I don't know.
Slappy's a dick.
So overall, what were your feelings?
Yeah, I thought this book was stupid.
Okay.
So it was not my favorite. Okay. I like mostly was upset about the sisterly dynamic.
Yeah.
I felt like this was definitely a sister's book written about by a man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. There are like antagonistic relationships between sisters. My sister and I honestly are like two very different people, but I still love her and I would
never do that.
That's pretty far.
Yeah. I think kid me would have hated it because it was scary.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the story in general for a kid. Like for a scary kid book, it was like,
oh, yeah.
It was good.
It wasn't too scary.
No, it was just scary enough and just freaky enough. It was okay. Like, you know, it was okay. The dog thing really bothered me. Unnecessarily. So I don't know. It was just like.
No, completely necessarily. Like that part was the part where I was like, oh no, it cannot possibly go here, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like out of all the books we've read, this is in the bottom for me as far as like fun factor. I would say that I give this like, I don't know, 2 scary clowns.
Out of how many are there? Is 100? Circus?
A whole circus. It gets 2. I think that there's I think it's a really fun kid book. If I had kids at Halloween, I would probably read this. And then I would probably put a, ventriloquist dummy in their room in the middle of the night. So when they woke up, they were like freaking.
Oh my God. That's the shit my parents used to pull. Like at one point I was scared about something. I think I was really scared of Bigfoot. And we had this like macrame owl in our house as decoration. And my dad took it out because we weren't like cleaning our room or something. And my dad took the macrame owl out and put it up against the window while we were like, it was the most traumatic, terrifying event of my childhood.
Okay.
Other than the pizza man.
Okay. Well, yeah. I do want to say, for the record, I wouldn't do that to a small child. I would do that to a tween.
Oh.
Because their neurons are not firing the same as little kids.
I was like 5.
Okay. Yeah.
It was little.
Yeah. I just want to say that for the record. Because it's like, I'm on one side of TikTok where there's people do pranks on their kids and stuff. And like some people are like, hey, let's not do trauma to children. And I'm like, oh, I could kind of see where having like, because a lot of people do like Halloween photo shoots.
Yeah.
And so the kids are sitting there and then a scary thing will come behind them and then they scream and run. And I'm like, oh, trauma response.
But I like the one where they give the kids the avocados. That's old. There's a Vine.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
There was one where people were cracking eggs on their kids' heads and the kids would be like, ow, why did you do that? So I like the fun pranks where everybody laughs.
I like them when they throw the American cheese on the babies.
Okay.
And it sticks.
Violent.
And the babies are all like, ah. Because it's just like
I'm lactose intolerant.
I think it's hilarious because the kids are always like, ah. And then they do it to cats too. And the cats are like, freeze.
Yeah.
So but nobody's getting hurt by getting some American cheese on you.
And nobody's getting like having a trauma response that they may have to go to therapy for later on in life.
I probably really should just see somebody about the damn macrame owl. But
oh my gosh.
Here we are.
Instead,
I just avoid horror.
There we go. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our coworker, Boyana, she said she's like read it with all her kids. I imagine her kids freaking love this.
Oh, yeah.
Like her sons probably thought this was like the best. On a like, I'm going to give it 5 out of 10 candy corns.
Okay.
It's like,
it's good,
the
not
worst
great.
book.
Yeah. It's a candy corn.
See where it has a place. Oh, I actually like candy corn.
Okay.
But it has a place.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what's better than candy corn?
What?
Those little pumpkins. I know they're made out of the same stuff, but somehow the size makes it change. But it's not like the worst thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it has a place. Yeah. Like candy corn. Yeah. It has a place.
Yes. Okay. I think that's great. So yeah. So there we go. Our spooky season book is done. I'm sad that I wasn't a little bit more scared, but I'm going to watch the season. I'm going to watch just the episode of the dummy one on Friday the 13th or whenever it comes out.
I will be at a conference, but I will join you at some point for it.
Okay.
But I will not watch it by myself and I will not watch it at night.
Okay.
Even if I know it's for children, I still will not watch it at night.
Yeah. I did watch not the new Haunted Mansion, but Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion. Mm-hmm. And I watched it at dusk and it was too much. And I was like, that's embarrassing.
I had to say, part of my sexual awakening sounds too much, but my like romantic awakening as a child was definitely the scene with Christina Ricci and Casper the Friendly Ghost, where he becomes like a real boy.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been trying this this spooky season to watch a scary movie every day, but like scary, quote unquote scary, a Halloween movie. So like the first night I watched Practical Magic.
Oh, I love that. And it's like
the Hocus Pocuses. I watched a Harry Potter.
Yeah,
like just to make me feel like I'm in the festive mood of spooky, but not like of like terror.
Yeah,
like I made the mistake of I was watching. I may have been on my favorite social media app and. Sometimes like trailers come up and I started watching one and then it became a scary trailer and then I was not happy. So
we have mentioned this before, but I cannot watch the Paranormal Activity trailers.
Yeah.
They're too much. So then I love Practical Magic.
Yes.
The margarita scene is joy to me.
Lime in the Coconut is one of my favorite songs because of that.
It's so good.
So good.
That's what I imagine like as I become an older woman that like that would be the ideal to be like Diane Wiest.
Oh yeah.
Just like making lines and just making margs.
Yeah.
Midnight margaritas.
Yeah.
What a dream. I always watch Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
I love Hocus Pocus.
Love Hocus Pocus.
Rocky Horror.
Yep.
What are your like favorite Halloween-y movies?
I love The Worst Witch Ever. Starring Tim Curry and Fariza Balak. I can't remember her name. She's in The Craft. And it's about a girl named Mildred who's a witch. And he sings this song called Anything Can Happen on Halloween, which is chef's kiss masterpiece.
Tim Curry is a dream. He's amazing. He's truly wonderful.
I love The Craft, the original one. Like
we watched that when I was in I want to say middle or high school.
Yeah. If I'm really feeling like a scary movie, I really like this movie called Devil about people trapped in an elevator.
That's creepy.
It's super creepy, but it's like for whatever reason it doesn't scare me. And then if I want to watch a modern slasher, I'll sometimes watch the original Screams, like Scream 1, Scream 2. And I've watched them enough now where I don't get scared, but I also don't watch them at night. So
I love, for my like favorite horror movie is honestly like Signs.
Oh gosh.
I know it's stupid, but I love it so much. It's so good.
I just think that's funny that you call that horror.
Well, but it is like spooky.
It's
I
suspense.
think it is suspenseful. So I like a monster movie, but not like, I don't like CG monsters. I think what's the scariest about Signs, and I'll add to that, is also Cloverfield is the same way. I love Cloverfield. It's such a good movie. Is that they don't ever really feature the monster in a way that makes it super discernible. And it also means that the CG is like a bit covered. And honestly, that's how you would see it if this was like really happening. That like scene where the like alien walks through the birthday party, is like, "Vamonos, children, vamonos." That's how you would see it. It's like a creepy ass like camera movie off somebody's iPhone or some shit. Though iPhones are better than whatever was recorded off of. You know, so but that's how you would see it. I love that. There's like a realism in it that I love.
Okay, I give you that.
That actually makes it scary for me.
Yes, I think that it could really, not that it could really happen. Maybe though.
But it puts it in a space where it feels like,
more real. It feels like it's a real thing.
This is how it would happen.
Yes. I need to add to my list is a movie called The Monster Squad. Because when you said monsters, Monster Squad is about this. It's kind of like Goonies on Halloween. So it's about these kids that like, I don't know, something happens, some amulet is disturbed, and like all of these classic monsters are awoken, like Swamp Thing, the Mummy, Dracula, and
that's
they
amazing.
ascend on this town and the kids have to fight it. And it's like the boys are, I mean, because I watched it when I was probably like 7 or 8. And so the boys are like tween guys. And it was just like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. And it was just enough scary. And I don't know. It's a really good. They have a lot of those movie montages where they have the music and the kids are like making steaks and
love that shit.
Doing like melting down silver to make bullets. And so freaking good.
It's good.
I love this time of year. It's so fun.
Me too. Our go-to in our house is every year. This is when I know it's been a while since it's been released, but this is when we watch whatever current season of What We Do in the Shadows is, because I just love that so much.
Okay, is that the vampires with Michelle?
It's so funny.
Okay,
it's so good. Yeah, there's a original. The movie is Taika Waititi. Okay, and they release They are these monsters They're these vampires that are trying to live in modern society, and they're like catching up with technology, and they're just trying to like exist, and it's just very comical.
I feel like a new one for rotation for me is Wednesday.
I saw like the dance and everything because that kind of hit all the stuff. It looks like good.
It's good. I watched the series. It was really good.
Yeah, like Christine Gwendolyn's in it, or Gwendolyn Christie.
I don't know who.
She played Brienne of Tarth.
Oh yes, she's in it. Yes,
she's in it, and so
I
think I'd like it.
I think you would too. Yeah, there's just I don't know. I love it this time of year. I also kind of sometimes like to watch the stupid Hallmarky, corny, like Love in the Pumpkin Patch with Shannon Doherty. Thank you. Yes, I will be watching.
Do you do the bingo sheet with it?
Oh my gosh, no, but I probably should. But so for next month, get your books ready because we are reading Where the Sidewalk Ends.
I freaking love Shel Silverstein.
Yeah, I know nothing about the man except bald with a beard on the back of a book.
This is correct, and also wrote so many countercultural and like weird things. Like we'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk about this next month. But he wrote A Boy Named Sue by Johnny Cash.
Oh,
have you?
I don't even know. I barely know who Johnny Cash is. Honestly,
I know country's not your.
I'm sorry.
What do you mean you barely know?
I saw the documentary / autobiography thing from not Drew Barrymore, from Reese Witherspoon.
Are you talking about? No, that's not.
Walk the Line.
Oh my God, no. Okay.
I'm so sorry, Sam, to disappoint you. I know he sang in jail.
It happens.
Yeah.
He did sing. Yes, he sang in jail.
So next month is going to be a
so
cultural explosion.
It's going to be like some country, some counterculture. If you're enjoying Boozy Book Reports and would like to support the show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Boozy Book Reports, or leave us a positive review and rating. All of those things help us grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost. Check out their latest album now. Thank you and happy reading.